So what we're talking about today is Intel, and will this go up Monday or is it going to retreat? So if we look at it on a 10-day map here, um, it doesn't really tell you much, right? Because really everything before Friday is irrelevant because of this news, right? We got this news right here. Well, before these forums, we'll get back to these. There was this news here. Well, it's way back here now. Apple, Intel reach preliminary chip making deal. So when this news hit, to me, I always am reluctant when I see preliminary. It means nothing's written in stone. They're just talking. No deal has actually been finalized. There's no realized gains. There's no real substantial, like, oh my gosh, they're going to make a lot of money this year. That's not what this headline says. To me, it's just they're talking with Apple. Apple may use their chips. They're in the very early preliminary stages. Nothing to get too excited about. So in my mind, this is not institutions. Institutions are not the people here. These 227 million people, which is about 100 million people more than average. So that's a lot. That's a big increase. But in my opinion, this is not institutions. This is all retail. All people that are going off of the fact that Intel and Apple are going to be partnering together. And Intel is going to start putting their chips in Apple computers. And boy, is that going to send the stock skyrocketing. Well, that's just a bunch of hype. And I thought the stock was going to go up before that deal. But now it's gone up, a fair amount. So knowing that this is retail doesn't mean, though, this does not mean that come Monday, the stock's going to drop. People are going to wake up and say, oh, wait a second, maybe we jumped the gun a little bit here on this stock. I'm not saying that because the hype could continue into Monday because a lot of people, probably people who are watching this video, didn't even know about this on Friday. They just found out about it after the market closed or maybe after the news hit when it was too late, right? So there's still, in my opinion, a lot of people who are going to be jumping on this bandwagon. And look at this candle here. You see this candle? That's a pretty bullish candle. That means it started down here at the very bottom and it never dipped down and then came back up. It's where it started. It only went up the rest of the day. It started here. Okay, it dipped down just a little bit here. And then it folded on it, dipped down a little bit here, but pretty much it's traded in a range. It didn't really dip down that much. It was pretty bullish. And then once the news hit, so really you don't even want to look at anything before the news. You only want to look after the news because that's only what's relevant now. What was going on before the news is irrelevant. After the news, when it exploded, it went up until this huge thing here. It was pretty much all up, very little pullback, very bullish. Then boom, this explosion. This explosion is all retail buyers like you and me coming in here buying this stock. And it jumped all the way up to 130. So to me, that's a crucial number to look at, $130. Because most likely, if the hype pushed it up to there, and then suddenly it ended and it pushed it back down, that tells you that that's a resistance line. I don't want to go above 130. That's important. This little bit of a dip here, and wasn't much. And then when it did pull back, the floor of where the bottom of where that pulled back is very close to where it ended up closing for the day. That's significant. That's a number two. So if you buy the stock at 124, where it closed, 125, that's pretty much the new floor. We're very close to it. The new floor is 123, let's say. So that's within $2 of where it closed. So it closed pretty low if you think about the new scenario here, because really, before this news, before this acceleration here, before this huge increase here, is also very irrelevant because only the news matters. What happened after the news? The retails, boom, they exploded. They hit 130. They kind of adjusted a little bit and then bounced off of 124. Then went up a little bit and then kind of settled around 124 or something. 124.92. High end of 124. And at the very end of the day, we had a big buy. Maybe that was institutional, right? That could have been an institutional buy. They like to buy the last minute or two of the day when the stocks settle and buy it. So Monday, let's talk about Monday now. Let's get into Monday. What about Monday? Well, Monday, we're going off this continuation. So in my opinion, this is what I know everyone's really here for. They're here to hear about Monday, which is tomorrow. I think that it could be volatile, but I definitely think that tomorrow is going to be another euphoric day, because tomorrow everyone's going to jump in this stock. And if you really think about it, this is the reason I was originally looking at this stock. This stock is cheap. I mean, Intel has been around forever. And if it wasn't for, Mac, they would pretty much be the dominant force. And even in business, they still are the dominant force. Even Mac doesn't really compete with business, right? So they're the dominant chip maker for the dominant platforms. And if they move into Mac and they start putting their chips into Mac, they pretty much will have it all figured out. But they're not really part of this whole AI hype. They haven't been a big part of the AI hype, so they haven't jumped up. Like, let's take a look at AMD, which in my opinion is an inferior chip maker. They haven't been around as long as Intel. They don't have the presence of Intel. And look at that price, $455. That is where Intel should be. So do I think this stock can go a lot higher than 124? I think it can double that. I think it can go to 200. And it might do that on Monday. This is just the beginning. This is just the first day after the news. And now look at that candle. I think we're going to pop down maybe to 120. We're going to hit that 120 floor. And that's as down as we're going to go. And I think we're going to go to 130, because if you look at that candle on that one day, there it is. It moved to 130. So we're at least going to go to 130. So if you put in 100 shares, that's $12,400 or $12,500. You sell it at 13, that's $500. Easy. Easy in my opinion. So it's at least going to go to 130. Now, the fun news is, if it does do like I say, and I think that this stock should be trading at $200 a share. So I think that on Monday, this is my prediction, it's going to go, the range is going to be somewhere around 110. I'm going to say it goes to 180. 110 to 180. I think this stock's going to go to 180. So if it does that, 100 shares, 12,500 to 18,000. It's $5,500 in one day of trading for 100 shares. Okay, so I almost forgot to mention here's the biggest clue that this stock is going to continue to go up on Monday. Look at all these Form 4s. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of these Form 4s. And these Form 4s are when insiders buy or sell their own stock. So these would be CEOs and other people who work for the organization who are buying or selling shares. So what do you think these 9 Form 4s are for? Are they buying or are they selling shares? Because if they're selling shares, then that means what they think the stock's going to go down. It peaked on Friday. Let's sell. Let's get our profits and get out. If they're buying more, then they're thinking, oh, wow, this stock went up. We think it's going to go up a lot more, so we're going to buy some more. So let's find out what they're doing. Are they buying or selling their shares? So you go into the form here, and you come down to the transaction code, and it's an M, which is basically like a moving, you're modifying or you're moving shares around. So are you adding or deleting? You're adding shares. That means they're buying shares. So they bought 2,730 shares, bringing their total up to 28,000. It's a direct versus indirect. So this means they have bought shares. All right, so let's go to the next one. So we're going to go back a page here to the previous page and start from the bottom and work our way up. So let's see, James Goetz here. What did he do? He added 12,552 shares. Look at this. All right. Alicia Henry here. 12,552 shares added. We're seeing a pattern here. They're all getting the piece of the pie here. Same thing with Eric here. 12,552 shares added. Okay. And what do we think old Steve is going to get here? What's Steve going to get? Oh, Steve got his as well. So what do you think this tells you? Do they think this stock is going to go up or down? Here we go with Gregory here. Gregory? He's adding shares. And I'm sure that all of these, let's just go through them all, make sure that we're not missing anything. We're not but yes, they're all getting the same amount of shares and they're all getting added. They're buying shares. This one's buying, this top one, they got an extra 14,000. So what do you think they're thinking? They're thinking this stock has just begun, and I think the same thing. But once again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I'm not telling you to buy this stock. This is very risky. It could go down to $100 or less on Monday. It could go down. This is very high risk. Very, very high risk. But in my opinion, I think this is going to keep going up and up and up and up. And we're just seeing the beginning. All right. Thanks, everyone.